Senior Moments, sponsored by the Empowering Seniors Group on News Talk KVNU, 102 FM and 610 AM.
Good morning and welcome to the Senior Moment Show. We're back again for a new show. I'm back with my co-host, Sid Roeder. Good morning, Sid.
Good morning, Bruce.
Glad to be here, be back, and doing this again. And we've got some good friends with us here today. We've got Dennis Wildman. He's the Alliance Director for the Sunshine Terrace Foundation. And Amy Anderson, she's the spiritual counselor for Sunshine Hospice, which is part of the Sunshine Terrace Foundation. Welcome to you both. Before we get started today, let's talk a little bit about our show sponsor, Sid.
Absolutely, my pleasure. Our sponsor is the Empowering Seniors Group, which is a group of professionals that has dedicated their times and efforts to provide information to seniors, their family members, and really anybody who cares. If you'd like to learn more about the Empowering Seniors Group, you can do so online at empoweringseniors.info. Or you can email us at empoweringseniorscv@gmail.com, and the CV stands for Cache Valley. Or lastly, if you have any suggestions for this show, anyone you would like to see us invite, you can call me personally at 435-512-6406.
Thank you for sharing that, Sid, and thank you to our sponsors that allow us to put this on every week. We appreciate that, and I guess that includes the Sunshine Terrace Foundation because they are a sponsor and part of the Empowering Seniors Group. So thank you to your group for doing that because that helps us to get some good information out, which was what we're going to do today because we're going to talk about Dementia Dialogues, which is a really, really important program. But before we do that, we need to meet Dennis and Amy. So let's start with Dennis.
Fantastic. Well, we're super excited to be here. Dennis Wildman. I'm born and raised native of Cache Valley. I've been in the industry for 3.5 decades. Very much invested interest in this population, and we see, as a clinician, I see more and more need for assistance for our caregivers, and this is just one more resource that Sunshine Terrace Foundation provides, and we're honored to be here today, so we're excited.
Awesome. Amy, tell us about yourself.
So I have lived in Cache Valley now for 18 years, transplant from the Midwest. So if I don't sound like I belong here, it's because I do now, but I wasn't originally.
Chicago, right?
Chicago girl, that's right. Go Bears. And I've been working at Sunshine Terrace now for 10 years. And part of what drove me to be interested in working in this population is my mom had Alzheimer's disease and passed away from it at the young age of 72. And so it's kind of created this desire to pass along some of the things that I've learned and help individuals that I see struggling with the same things that my family and I struggled with.
So good to have you guys here today. And there is a fun caregiver class that you're teaching that is very valuable. Amy, maybe I can have you explain a little bit about that.
Sure. So this is a course that's called Dementia Dialogues. And Dennis and I may disagree on how many times we've done this and how long. I think it's been 5 years or so. But it is a course that we were trained in through the University of South Carolina as part of the Utah State Plan for Alzheimer's and Dementia. So it's not unique to Cache Valley, but Dennis and I are the only ones that are conducting this right now up here. And it was really set up to be a evidence-based class. So the information that we teach has been shown to be helpful to families that are caregiving. And I think that's important for people to understand. Although both Dennis and I have a lot of experience, as do many people in the Valley, this kind of consolidates all of that information into tips and ideas and medical education that families can take and absorb and use to help themselves.
You know, that's a long time, 5 years to teach that class. And I've had the opportunity to attend a few of them, and I know they're very well done, very, very helpful. I'm curious, maybe you can tell me a little bit about how many people do you think you've taught in this class, and then who's your who's your target group? Who should be there, Dennis?
Certainly. So our largest group that we've had, we actually had 62 in the room. So with your mind's eye, imagine that. You show up to a public event, you have 62 people in the room. That just shows the need for this. When we're talking about dementia dialogue, we're talking about 8 different diagnoses which cause dementia. And so we try to educate on those 8 different diagnoses, but more importantly, how do we intervene on those? So we're talking about, to the question is what population. We want to make sure that we're meeting the caregivers' needs who are caring for these individuals, but we actually do have some people that show up with pre or diagnoses themselves, and they want to learn more about the diagnoses, the treatment of it, both pharmacological and non-pharmacological interventions. And so, again, this is a really important piece to educate the community about what's available out there.
And Dennis, this isn't a one-time class, right? This is a series of classes you're offering?
Absolutely. We have, so starting in October, each Tuesday in October at 3:30 out at the Logan Regional Hospital, we'll be teaching. We have 4 classes back-to-back, an hour-and-a-half session for 4 weeks. And it's just important to understand that this is an education group. We have education groups where we provide an education. Amy and I also facilitate other groups, which is called caregiver support, and that's a psychoeducational group. So that's the kind where you teach it a concept, but then you also process your feelings and emotions to that. We want the public to know that you're coming to just learn about this. You don't need to talk about your personal feelings and stuff. And so this is a great opportunity to get the word out.
So this is not something that if I want to just sit in the back, I don't need to say anything. I can just, so if something's going on in my family, or again, you mentioned even sometimes people with an early diagnosis of some form of dementia, they might want to come and just listen, but maybe not participate in the class. They would be invited.
Yeah, we want people to know that you can come and sit on the back row and not discuss everything, or you can simply just come and be part of the discussion. And we want those who are caring for someone else, but also someone who may be diagnosed themselves pre-diagnoses and or diagnoses.
Okay, and is there a limit to the size of the class? And how do you have to register? Do you just show up? How does that work?
You do need to register only because we want to make sure we have enough materials. The classroom we're in could probably accommodate up to 40 people pretty easily. And if we have more people who call us, we will work with the hospital to make sure that we have more space to accommodate that. But yeah, there's no cost for this. That was part of the agreement when we did our training, that these classes are provided at no cost to the community. And again, all the Tuesdays from 3:30 to 5, they can call me directly at my office, which is 435-754-0233, or email me. It's amy.anderson with an O-N at sunshineterrace.org.
So, Amy, maybe really quickly before we head to our first break, what are the topics on the different classes that you're teaching?
So the very first session just kind of covers the basic facts. As Dennis mentioned, there's 8 diagnoses that have dementia as one of their symptoms, so we cover that and all of those kinds of issues. The second session discusses keeping the dialogue going. Dementia does impact communication skills. The third one covers creating a safe environment for the individual and the family, and also addressing challenging behaviors. And then finally, we wrap up with What Do I Do Now?, where we help people find the resources they need.
Awesome, Amy. Thank you. We're at the end of our first segment. We'll be back with more information on the Dementia Dialogues here in Logan, Utah. We'll take a short break, but we'll be right back.
Did you know 10,000 baby boomers qualify for Medicare every day? Did you know that you'll start to get swamped with mail about Medicare 6 months before your 65th birthday? Did you also know it doesn't cost anything to use an insurance agent to help you navigate through all those offers? Hi, I'm Tracy Ferris with Blue Water Health Insurance. Let me help you understand all the offers you're receiving and find the plan that fits best for your situation. Call me today at 435-890-8155.
This is Mark Thurston with White Pine Funeral Services. The best time to plan is when you have time to plan. Having a pre-arranged funeral gives peace of mind for everyone involved. White Pine will customize your final wishes to fit your needs, from a traditional burial to cremation to a custom headstone. White Pine also accepts pre-arranged plans from other mortuaries, and we will absorb any transfer or revocation fees. No penalty to you. Visit whitepinefunerals.com or come and see us for more information.
services, here when you need us most.
This is Brian Erickson for the Sunshine Minute. Each day, our nurses, CNAs, cooks and servers, housekeepers, laundry staff, music, recreation therapy teams, office staff, receptionists, and many more arrive around the clock. These heroes show up ready and willing to serve and protect our residents and clients. We are so grateful to our dedicated team. On behalf of the Board of Sunshine Terrace Foundation and our community, thank you to all of our employees for keeping us safe. We bring more to life together.
Reed's Pharmacy in Hiram offers free delivery service 5 days a week, Monday through Friday throughout the valley. Just stay home and they will deliver to you. With 25 different suppliers, they won't have the shortage that others might have. Also, with compounding and many other services, they will be able to serve all your needs. In order to stay safe and help slow the spread, please call Reed's Pharmacy in Hiram at 245-DRUG, and they will take care of you.
Welcome back to the Senior Moment Show. If you're just joining us today, we're talking with Dennis Wildman, Alliance Director with the Sunshine Terrace Foundation, and Amy Anderson, Spiritual Counselor with the Sunshine Hospice, part of the foundation there. Long-time members of our community involved with helping people and good people. And they put on a program called the Dementia Dialogues class, which is going to be at Logan Regional Hospital. If you're just joining us, grab a pencil and a piece of paper. We're going to give you more information about that in just a second. Dennis, when it comes to dementia, what is it that people don't really understand about that? What are some confusing things that happen there?
I think what most people perception is there's just a couple of diagnoses, which is only memory loss. And I think the perplexity and complexity of this is that these diseases, the dementia, causes lots of different factors, everything from loss of balance, loss of memory, loss of speech, loss of also mental capacities. So we try to make sure we treat all of those. And I think we understand that dementia is really, there's 8 different diagnoses. And what we want the public to hear is there's 4 of those diagnoses that there's no cause or no cure. So as a clinician, that's really hard for me because I don't want to sit across the table helping someone and let them know that there's no cause or no cure. But what we can do is teach people skills. And this class is a great example. I have a metaphor of a tool belt. And the more tools we give people, the more likely that they're going to be able to interact and be able to manage those things, because we can't take these diagnoses away, but what we can do is manage the best we can with ourselves in that process.
So I take it, from my own experience with my grandparents, and I've shared this on the radio show many times before, some of the, I don't know if I want to call it frustrations or the difficulties that the caregiver encounters are these memory lapses where the person goes back from 2 minutes ago and you're starting the same thing over again, or you have, as you said, if the speech goes away and communication gets difficult. So are you in those classes, are you teaching good advice for people how to be patient with that and understand and have compassion?
Yeah, so I think there's 2 levels to that. Number 1 is how can we best help the person who's diagnosed? But as Sid, as you're referencing, as the caregiver, we have a saying that we say, taking care of the caregiver. We have to make sure we give that caregiver all the tools, abilities, and resources to best manage this. So one of the sayings we use in there is we try to challenge them to say, could we get angry or could we be upset at the diagnosis instead of the person? Just that simply transferring that and projecting that towards the diagnosis instead of the person. Because, Sid, as you were talking, even your expression showed us that's hard. It's really hard to set through that and to care for someone you love so greatly and to have this disease take over their life. And Amy's desire to be involved in this is actually an asset for us because what she went through with her mom actually drives her to become better and help us more and more. So,
Amy, I'm curious, as you go through and teach this class, is there when you're presenting material like this, is there a favorite part for you that you just think, gosh, this is the part I really want to get through to people. This is the thing that means the most to me?
I think it is discussing the challenging behaviors, because every single person is going to have a different path that they follow, but there are some consistent behaviors that people tend to find really frustrating. And it's not necessarily something that you're going to feel comfortable going out and talking to your friends about, right? Like, oh my gosh, my mom is driving me crazy because she does X, Y, and Z, or Dad now is using this language that he's never used before in his life, and it's really upsetting to me, and it makes me question things. So I think giving people tools to manage those behaviors and help them, as Dennis said, understand it's the disease, not the person, to me is kind of a favorite thing, because you see people kind of come to that understanding that I can still love the person while I'm frustrated and mad about the disease. And that, I think, is a really critical understanding to get to. And, I can say that to you right now in 30 seconds, but it does sometimes take those periodic sessions over and over, hearing other people in the class that are willing to talk voice that they're feeling and experiencing that same thing. So they realize I'm normal. In an abnormal setting, my reactions are normal.
So one issue that also comes to my mind is, do you discuss how people can evaluate the appropriate time to realize that they're not able to be the sole caregiver anymore? That is such a critical timeline.
Yeah, we've actually added something to our foundation called a geriatric consult. And that's just simply us as trained clinicians that we sit down with families and help them explore where the person's at. We have scales that we can kind of tell people where they're at as far as their cognitive deficits. We also have balancing assessments we can do. We also have some mental health evaluations that we can do. So through the diagnostic process and through the testing with the medication, we can help someone understand the diagnoses, but more importantly, how do we help them? Because again, the diagnosis is sometimes that saying, this is what I have, and we help people understand and accept that. But more importantly, how do we embrace that and move forward? And I think that's part of that. So yes, we have some very specific, a couple of reference. We have what we call a MOCA assessment. We have a Allen's cognitive level screening, which we do, and then we have just a mini mental status evaluation that we do. So.
Do you see that family members carry a lot of guilt on when that time approaches to let go of the caregiving?
Yeah, and I think that's part of what we're dealing with, and maybe we can get into the next section about some of our difficulties in our community, right, with not enough care. But maybe a quick answer to that is we need to make sure we care for the caregiver. So this class is an education, but moreover, we also have a caregiver support class where you can come, sit down, we provide an educational lesson, but also through that process, we allow you to process your feelings, and then we help develop a plan specifically for you as a caregiver to minimize your guilt and improve your availability and resources for your loved one.
We've had a lot of experience just among us as we work with people in this community and see caregivers go through some real tough situations where they're experiencing guilt and lots of other emotions, especially with dementia, people that they're helping, but even in lots of situations where they're providing care. I'm curious, do you get feedback as people leave the class? What do they tell you about what they learned and what has made a difference for them?
One of the common threads is, thank you for making me recognize that I'm normal in my feelings and my emotions. Thank you for helping me to understand the path that we're on. There is a lot of stigma associated with getting a diagnosis of Alzheimer's or other diseases. People don't like to share it. They don't like to admit that not only the patient doesn't like to admit the deficits, but families don't also like to recognize it. So I think kind of just being in that place and being able to give voice to that, it really validates the individual. So that's what we hear a lot is just, thank you for letting me know that I'm not the only one, that for what I'm experiencing is normal, and that there are things that I can do to change my response to behaviors, to change my response to communication difficulties, so that I'm a better caregiver.
Thank you, Amy and Dennis. We're going to take another break here in a second, and when we come back, we'll make sure to have mentioned the phone number again where you can reach out for the class that's coming up in October. Again, this is the Senior Moments Show. We're going to take a little break. We'll be right back.
Hi, this is Bruce with Comfort Care. One of the ways we help loved ones stay in their home is by assisting with daily tasks. These may include bathing, meal preparation, medication reminders, and housekeeping. We even help with shopping, transportation, and errands. Most of all, we offer a trusted level of care. Let us help you live your best life possible with Comfort Care. This is Bruce, and you can call me at 754-7676. Comfort Care, 754-7676.
This is Brian Erickson for the Sunshine Minute. Each day, our nurses, CNAs, cooks and servers, housekeepers, laundry staff, music, recreation therapy teams, office staff, receptionists, and many more arrive around the clock. These heroes show up ready and willing to serve and protect our residents and clients. We are so grateful to our dedicated team. On behalf of the Board of Sunshine Terrace Foundation and our community, thank you to all of our employees for keeping us safe. We bring more to life together.
Whether you have a small business, large corporation, or sole proprietorship, remember Cook Martin Polson has provided quality accounting services since 1977. At Cook Martin Polson, they believe you've earned it, and they're going to help you keep it. Take a minute right now to call 750-5566. That's 750-5566 to set up your tax appointment and let Cook Martin Polson show you how to keep the money you have earned.
This is Jared Ripplinger with Cook Martin Polson. You've worked hard for your money. Let us help you keep it.
You have a lot of options when it comes to buying or selling a home. Do you list it online, sell it yourself, or do you have a realtor help? It's a major financial and emotional decision. A realtor is the liaison between buyers and sellers and really helps you navigate complex contracts, deadlines, and disclosures.
Hi, this is Sid Roeder with Achievement Realty. I work for you to get the best outcome for your situation. Let me earn your trust with a free consultation and a free market analysis. Call me today at 512-6406. Then list it, sell it, and move on.
Welcome back to the Senior Moment Show. If you're just joining us today, we've been talking with Dennis Wildman, who is the Alliance Director at the Sunshine Terrace Foundation, and Amy Anderson, who is the spiritual counselor for the Sunshine Hospice Group. And we've been talking about a class that they teach called Dementia Dialogues that's upcoming at Logan Regional Hospital here. And before we went to break, we promised that we would get good contact information and registration information, and we're just going to let Amy unload. So go, Amy.
So people can give me a call at my office. That phone number is 435-754-0233. Or you can email me at amy.anderson@sunshineterrace.org. Or you can just go to the Sunshine Terrace website, which is sunshineterrace.org, and we have the flyer up on the front page of our webpage, and you can look at that and get that information as well. But the classes are held, as we mentioned, every Tuesday during the month of October. They begin at 3:30 and run until 5. The first class is the 4th, the 2nd, the 11th, then the 18th, and then the 25th.
What if I can't make them all?
You can come to as many of these as you are able. We do try to offer this 3 or 4 times a year, so we'll make sure we let people know when the next classes are going to be. So if you can only be there for the 1st and 3rd, you can always come back and pick it up. We actually, Dennis, have quite a few people who come back a second time even, because sometimes you feel like you're drinking from a fire hose when you're dealing with a new diagnosis or a new situation. So we have had people that come and then a year later come because they realize, oh, that's right, they talked about communication problems. Now I'm starting to see those with my husband, or now I'm starting to see that with my father. And so they realize that things that the first time around may not have been relevant now are becoming relevant. Or they realize, oh, I know they talked about resources. I need to go back and revisit where that might come up. But come to 1, 2, 3, or hopefully all 4.
I know they're all good. Which one should I not miss?
Oh, you can't miss any of them, Bruce.
I know. You just the instruction is so quality.
Yeah, well, I think
it's first class.
Yeah, that's right. But I really do think that the first one is really important because it does lay that groundwork of what the basic issues are with the dementia diagnosis. But everybody's going to have different needs. Like I said, some people will have a communication problem, and some people won't. Someone will have a behavior problem, and other people won't. Someone's going to need help understanding where's that line in the sand where I have to recognize that I'm not capable of providing good care anymore. And then that last session would be the most important. So it's really going to depend on the individual, on the family, on the person that they're caring for.
And let me ask, I know we've mentioned before that there is some sort of a support group, but what kind of resources are there for someone who has dementia?
That's a great question. So again, this is an educational group, and so we don't shut the doors. You just come in, we provide education. Psychoeducational group is the other group, which we've been running now for 17 years. And it's more we come and teach a concept, but also you process your feelings, and it's a little bit more confidentially based. Our groups are all open-ended, so our support groups, you can come and go at any time. You don't necessarily come for 8 weeks and graduate and be done. We want people to know that it's an ongoing process. And so when we talk an awful lot in all three of our groups, we say there's hope and you're not alone. That's important to understand, is that even though we're all in the same room and we all have a loved one that's suffering from dementia or one of the related diagnoses, we're all different. And one of the things I try to teach as a clinician, that don't come to group and ever compare better to worse. Come to group and understand that it's just different. So we can have two siblings with the same diagnosis, and it's different for them, but certainly different for their families. And so through that process, again, we provide a basic information, and then we want to make sure we guide those people on their journey. Because of all the things I deal with as a clinical social worker, all the things I deal with, our dementia caregivers is probably the more complex, because they last an awful long time and the person is progressively getting worse all the time. And so we really need to support the caregivers, and that's one of the things that Sunshine Terrace does well, is that we make sure we treat the whole family. And so we're pretty honored to do this, and it's pretty exciting.
Do you have a favorite story, Dennis, about this class, maybe an experience you've had as you've taught it that you just thought, oh, wow, that just touched me? And
we had an individual who I've been treating on and off the two different family members for probably 12 years, and she really struggled with the first marriage, and he passed away, and then we end up now caring for her because she's remarried now. And she said, quote unquote, this is a rewind, Mr. Wildman. I'm getting to see this rerun again now, right? Well, through this process, we learned from what she had before and went through, but we're teaching them new skills and added skills to how to deal with this differently. So same spouse, just a different loved one, and we make sure that we try to meet those needs differently. We get responses that people are a little bit more private, say, what I learned today helped me care, but also what we heard 2 weeks ago was, you helped me stay alive. And I think that's a very, very powerful statement. So,
thank you. Sadly, we're coming up to the end of our show, so maybe, Amy, you can mention one last time the phone number where someone could reach you.
Sure, they can call 435-754-0233 and leave a message just with your name and number and that you're interested in the class, and I'll get back to you if I'm not at my desk.
Thank you both for coming in, Dennis and Amy. This is the Senior Moment Show. Again, I'd like to mention our sponsor, which is the Empowering Seniors Group. If you would like to learn more about the Empowering Seniors, you can do so online at empoweringseniors.info, or you can email us at empoweringseniorscv@gmail.com, and the CV stands for Cache Valley. Thanks for tuning in, and we hope you tune in again next week.